Wonder if I should make that a channel intro, me coming in and sitting down on the chair every time for a video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm a photographer and I love getting out in nature and taking photos and video of all sorts of things in the great outdoors. This video is going to be my first video, so I need something clickbaity. So why not do a gear preview of a brand new lens? Let me grab it here. This is the brand new Sony 100-400 f4.5 GM. So this thing is brand spanking new, and I've had a few days to use it, a few outdoor sessions, and it's a fantastic lens. Throughout the video, I'll intersperse some of my sample shots from this lens when I've gone out and shot various subjects, for the most part birds. But let me talk a little bit about this. So this is not a sequel to the first 100-400 GM lens. It may seem like that because they specifically chose the 100-400 focal length, but it just isn't. It's a different beast entirely. They intend for both of those lenses to be utilized for different purposes. This is a much bigger, I don't know how much the original weighs, but I would imagine this is probably heavier. This is an internal zoom versus the original being a external zoom. This has a consistent brighter aperture compared to the first one. And I think this is overall just a more professional quality lens, and let's discuss why. The big thing is the consistent aperture. This thing is going to give you a brighter exposure all around throughout the entire zoom range, whereas the other 100-400 I believe is 4.5 to 5.6, I think. So all the way out at 400 you're still getting 4.5. As for the image quality on this, it's fantastic. It's super sharp. I can't notice any spots of decreased clarity. It's really sharp. The internal zoom is very nice because you don't have to worry about the weight shifting as you zoom in and out. And that's also going to help with things like keeping out moisture and dust, because there's not extra mechanisms that are exposed to the outside world. Everything that's moving in this is on the inside. So as for the features of the lens, we already mentioned that it's 100-400 f4.5. It does come with its own hood and lens cap. The front element is not too large that you need one of those kind of cloth Velcro lens caps. It has a normal plastic pinching one. The lens hood has a small button that clicks into place. Moving down the lens, we have some function buttons here, here, and here on the side, so it's kind of like a little 3-point system. And then on that same kind of ring here, we have a smooth and tight selector for the focus ring. So what this does is it changes how aggressive you have to turn the focus ring to get it to move. So whenever it's smooth, it's very easy. Demonstrate here. Very easy. It has a very short throw for the range of the zoom. And then if you switch it over to tight, probably won't come across in the video, but it's a little bit tougher. But a little side note, I suppose, is that actually also helps the internal elements from sliding whenever you're not using the lens and you might have it at your side on a strap or something like that. If you have it on smooth, it does tend to shift depending on which way the lens is held. So now that we're past the selector switch, there is a bonus control ring right here. I think this only has a set number of functions that they don't just let you customize it to whatever you may want it to be, but I think one of the functions is turning it from APS-C crop to full frame and so on and so forth. Then we have the manual focus ring right here. We have several selector switches for various functions such as manual focus and autofocus, vibration reduction, focus limiter, stuff like that. You'll be very familiar with the switches if you have any other sort of GM lenses of this caliber. Here is the knob for controlling the lens foot. It has hard clicks at every 90 degrees through a little magnet that they have in here, and you can actually turn the clicks on and off with this area here. There's a little cover and it has a little switch inside that will allow you to turn those clicks on and off. So if you need to record video, you want to change the orientation to portrait versus landscape, you can turn that off and it won't make any sort of clicks or jerks or anything like that. But I tend to like the clicks because it lets me know that I'm at a perfectly right angle. And then here we have the lens foot. It does not have a tripod cut into it, does not have Arca Swiss. It does have screw holes that you can put a plate into. It is kind of small. It has this nice kind of fake leather feeling on the inside, so you can carry it like a little handle. Then moving on back, we have some anchor points so that you can attach a strap or anything that you want to. Generally recommended whenever you have a lens this large and heavy, so that you're not attaching it to your camera and putting the stress on the mount of the camera itself. So then we have this little drop-in filter further back. So because the front element of this lens is a little bit larger, the filters are a little bit more expensive. So you can buy a filter that will screw onto this, and then you can insert it back into the camera. The only problem is that if you have any sort of graduated ND filter or something like that, a polarizer, you don't have any way to change it once it's in there unless you buy another insert like this from Sony that has a little dial that you can change something like a polarizer on it. It's a phenomenal lens. I will again share some images that I've taken with it so far, and perhaps down the road I'll do a more in-depth full review of it, but I think that if you can get this, it's worth it. It's expensive for sure. Everything with camera gear is expensive. Personally, I value the versatility of zoom lenses a lot more than any sort of prime. I know that the images that you will get with some of the top primes are gonna still blow this out of the water. They have longer reach in some cases, they have brighter apertures in some cases, but as far as I'm concerned, this is a good kind of jack of all trades, master of none lens. What I have to compare this to is the Tamron 150-500. I used to use that lens. It was a little bit slower. It was an external zoom, so it would extend whenever you zoomed in. And that was a really good lens. However, I noticed that it wasn't as sharp as I would like it to be. There was just something about it whenever I would evaluate my image quality, there was just a little bit of softness that I couldn't ever seem to really figure out what was going on unless I stopped down the aperture significantly, and I just don't want to do that with some of the photography that I do. I need a lot of light for things like wildlife or early morning landscapes. So having something like this that allows me to get more light into my sensor is definitely a big plus. Now, another major thing with this compared to my Tamron that I got rid of for this plays much nicer with teleconverters. The Tamron did not accept teleconverters. That's a limitation on Sony's end. Generally speaking, if you want to make use of teleconverters, you gotta get their lenses and you gotta get their teleconverters. Viltrox does have a teleconverter that they released somewhat recently that I do intend to test with this. It's a lot cheaper. It's a 2x teleconverter. I think it's about half the price of Sony's 2x teleconverter, but I will do some further testing with that and assess whether or not that has good clarity and sharpness. Going through an extra piece of glass essentially, so I'll do a test on that, and I will post the results whenever I get one of those and put it through its paces. But if you have a beginner lens, a third-party lens, so on and so forth, one of those kind of more inexpensive zoom lenses, but you want something that's more professional, I think this is a good bet. I think that if you can get this, you won't be disappointed, but it's certainly not necessary. I've taken a lot of great images with my Tamron whenever I had that. Just do what makes you happy, I guess, is the best way to put it. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to buying gear, and I think that everyone always tries to talk you in or talk you out of making upgrades, and they're biased in that respect. I think probably the biggest thing is that if you have the money, do what makes you happy. If you don't have the money, save up for it. But this is a hobby that everyone's meant to enjoy. Don't take it so seriously. Enjoy it. See you next time.